So we're coming to you from the bunker. You're seeing a brand new face here in this second half kickoff for Core Grain. Core Grain, our newest partner here at the RP Show, doing the right thing for your farm. They bring you this second half kickoff in the entire second hour. Giulio Caravatta is in studio. He is the longtime radio color voice of the BC Lions, former BC Lions quarterback, punter, Grey Cup champion. And again,
it's a long time ago.
Does it feel like that long ago?
It was not only a long time ago. It was a lot of LBs ago. It was a lot of everything ago.
Well,
it's my life.
You played thick. Come on,
I did play thick. My dad was a thick man. So
is that right?
Go. Yes.
I appreciate you coming up to the bunker here
well,
on
it's
game
nice.
day.
When I've seen you, this looks impressive when you watch, and it's impressive when you get here. Nice
I appreciate
setup, buddy.
that. Thank you.
Very nice.
Well, we like to have fun here.
Yeah.
We're proud of it. And this is exactly what we wanted. And I'm telling you, I knew with the CFL kicking off, it was going to be great for us. We could preview the game yesterday, preview tonight's game, and break down last night's game. 19-6, Winnipeg Blue Bombers beating the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Trust me, we're going to get to the Riders and Lions tonight. But what was your takeaway? You obviously watched it.
Yeah, no, I watched it. I think as much hype as it's all getting, and like it should. They haven't played in 642 days. No preseason games, just the training camp, and I'm just one of those guys. I've learned over the years that there's just no way, Roddy, of being able to replicate the pressure and anxiety that comes with a game, right? So you can do all you want in practices, but it's just not the same. So these guys now are going from training camp scenarios to all of a sudden playing a regular season game. And sure, they're all emotional. You're hyped and stuff, but still, there's going to be, I think, a lot of rust there, execution-wise. And, I would expect for all the teams heading out that there's no one that's going to come out and just kind of light it up unless there's, some colossal mistakes on both sides of the ball. But everyone has to start somewhere, and this is where they're going to start.
For sure. And I expected a lot more sloppiness than we saw last night. We didn't. I mean, I was talking about it last hour. We didn't see drop passes. We didn't see missed tackles. We didn't see procedure calls, offside calls. We didn't see any of that, at least not when I watched.
Yeah.
I did fall asleep before it was over. It did get a little boring. But the start was great.
Welcome to my world, buddy.
Welcome to this stage of life.
Exactly right.
But so they're saying there might be a quarterback controversy in Hamilton because Jeremiah Masoli, opening drive looked lights out, and then after that, something changed. But for Zach Collaros in Winnipeg, I was talking the last hour with Smitty, it didn't happen in Saskatchewan for Zach, but it's happening in Winnipeg for Zach. He looks great.
Yeah. I mean, they got a good team. He's a veteran quarterback. He understands, everything that is happening on a field, Roddy, and that to me is everything. When you have a quarterback that steps out there and is in complete control of the game, he's super confident in his game plan. He's super confident in what the defense is going to do, and it's just a matter of going out and executing. You can tell those guys, that the Collaros, the Bo Levis, the Reillys, those kinds of guys, Trevor Harris, when they step onto the field, they're a threat because of that experience and that veteran leadership.
Mm-hmm. So to tonight's game, and we invite the comments from the Bomber fans and the Ticats fans too, but a lot of people want to know what you think is going to go down with the BC Lions at the Saskatchewan Roughriders tonight. I've seen 6.5 favorites. Saskatchewan blows me away.
Yeah, that's to me a little high, right? Considering, there's a lot of change, for both teams, right? So I can't see that kind of score unless, like you say, if somebody's going to come out and absolutely crap the bed and turn the ball over 7 times. But this is going to be a fairly close game. It's going to be really interesting because there's so much change, I think, on both teams. With the Lions, they've on offense. I think I heard Craig talk about this in the previous hour about the Lions getting Riker Matthews. I think he's really solidified that right side of the offensive line. The other guy that and he mentioned Peter Godber at center. I think he's obviously a guy that's been in the system but hasn't been healthy. Now is healthy, but I'd look at a guy like Suk Chung, who played in 2019 hurt, and it really, really affected the way I think he played. I think he's got a chip on his shoulder about proving that he's the player that everyone thought he was going to be. And sometimes when you have that motivation, and that whole offensive line has that motivation, everyone talks about the 58 sacks and how bad they were, and they were getting their quarterback killed. Well, you live with that for a long time, right? Because that's been the big question mark.
Yep.
Guys start to say to themselves, hey, they start to take it personal, right? And I get that sense that there's a real chip on that offensive line's shoulder that they want to prove that they're not as bad as people think they are.
I'm sure there is, but here's the thing, Giulio. I mean, you and I talk. You know that I'm not working in the league actively now, but I'm talking to people every day. And somebody said to me the other day, with the Lions and their sacks, they said, that's Reilly's fault. He holds onto the ball too long. That's on him.
Well,
you hear that all the time.
No, I agree. And that's one of the points I wanted to make as well, is that a lot of people look at sacks and they say, that's the offensive line. Well, if you know anything about football, you realize that it's not just about the offensive line. It's the running backs. It's the quarterbacks. There's a lot of blame to go around. Now, and I will say, like people say about Reilly holding the ball. Well, I can tell you this, that in this offense, or the offense that the Lions have tried to run, it's a very much like the Mark Trestman offense, right? These guys are, Jordan McSimic is a guy that's off that tree. Jason Moss, Jarius Jackson, all these guys are off that tree. So it's a very precise passing game where every step means something. So if you're supposed to run a 12-yard curl, it means you run it at 12. You don't run it at 10. You don't run it at 13.
Right.
And so when you do, you're not running it at 10. You're running it at 14 or 13. The quarterback is holding the ball because he doesn't know whether or not you're going to turn. So there's a lot that goes into a sack. And, I just think that was one of the big things that hurt the Lions in 2019 was that those little details that weren't being executed. And they've really, really harped on that through training camp, and we'll see whether or not they can execute it on the field. But I like their offense. Dominic Rhymes is the real deal. I mean, he's proven he's a 1,000-yard receiver in this league. Big target. Lucky Whitehead, do I need to, he's a proven commodity as well. He brings a lot of versatility to an offense. He's a guy that can, I think is an underrated route runner, but can still do all that kind of, the reverses and all the kind of swing passes and quick screens that they do. He's a guy that can really help your offense, and I think he will.
Well, you again hear so much bunk, you don't know what to believe. I hear they're going to throw it up and have Lucky Whitehead go get it all night. and they like the matchup that Shaq Johnson's going against on the field, wide side. Yeah, I got BC to beat the spread, if you will. Riders are favored by 6.57. I don't see it being that wide. I don't. Now, did you get to Kamloops for training camp?
Yeah, I did.
So
I saw one whole practice because 3 of them got canceled because of the smoke. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure you get tired of being asked questions like, is Reilly going to play tonight? What's the deal there?
Well, I think like a lot of players, and I've heard right across the league, like, Bo Levi Mitchell and Matt Nichols, all these guys have taken some time off through training camp. And that's the other part, right? Like, I don't have to tell you here in Saskatchewan about the news that they made before training camp even started with their injuries. That's going to be another huge part of this season, I think, is what is that layoff going to do to these players? And you knock on wood that it doesn't. You want to see the stars healthy and playing and being the stars. But I think that the layoff is going to have an effect on these guys. I really do. And we're just going to have to cross our fingers and hope it doesn't happen. But as far as Michael Reilly goes, he's there's nothing, I think, structurally wrong with him. I think that it's just soreness. And it's one of those things that happens during training camp. You're gonna get a sore shoulder, you're gonna get sore elbow, and you're just gonna have to play through it. And I think he threw this week, didn't throw during practice. Nathan Rourke did, and let me tell you, I saw one practice at training camp, but I saw all 4 practices back in BC, and I'm excited to see that kid. He's a gamer, right? He's got something that he does. There's no panic to his game. He's a guy too, PD, I think, has really benefited from the fact that having the time off, and you think about, getting drafted. Now all of a sudden, it wasn't like you get drafted and then 3 weeks later you're in a pro training camp. And by the way, here's your 200.
Which happens,
right?
Yeah.
What happens to everybody. Yeah. But now all of a sudden you have the ability to learn that offense, and especially the verbiage, which can be overwhelming for a rookie quarterback. And you get in there and you have a whole year to kind of go over it, and in the meetings and doing all those things, you can tell this kid has really paid attention. And he really hit the ground running when he got to training camp. And usually I will say that a rookie quarterback will make one read and then there's a sense of panic to your game. Like they're not developed enough in the sense that they want to look for their second and third read. Nathan Rourke has proven to me, like watching him in practice, and again, this is just practice, that he's got that ability. There's no panic. First read, not there. Okay, slide, move in the pocket. Second read, third read. He has the athleticism to move around, but he also has the mentality to know where to go with the football.
Played at Ohio, very mature kid, but he's still a rookie.
Yes.
So I'm sure
everyone's got to start someone, Roddy.
Right. The Lions would be happy to not see him tonight. I don't think there's any doubt of it. It's 11-11, by the way. Make a wish. Carlos Legena's watching in Indianapolis. Says, I don't think too many people saw last night's game going like it did. Yeah, and I'll comment on that in a moment. James in Borda, Manitoba says, I was really sad when the Bombers let Lucky go. He's a gamer. He's a gamer, but money talks. I like Lucky too. He'll be fun. He'll be fun to watch.
But Lucky's again. I'll even for me, like when you see a guy in games, you think, oh God, he's like, he comes in those reverses and they out of the backfield but man, you watch him run a route. Like, I mean, he's a very, very good route runner. So again, when you add pieces like that to an already, I think, pretty veteran-laden offense, you throw Dominic Rhymes, Lucky Whitehead, Brian Burnham, Lamar Durant, Shaq Johnson, Javon Cotoy. I mean, they've got good skill all across the board. And the thing about what I like about this version of their offense is that, it was always Brian Burnham. And then if they're doing something with Burnham, then you're going to go throw to Durant and you're going to scatter. I mean, right across the board, they've got guys that can hurt you. So we'll see if that's going to translate into games. But I'm excited on what I see on paper offensively.
Yeah. Well, again, who knows until tonight. As Carlos and Indy said, last night's game, didn't see it coming. Very fluent, very up-tempo, wasn't slow. We didn't see injuries.
Yeah.
So let's hope that continues tonight.
Keeps going, yeah.
But from the Saskatchewan side, Giulio, I got to ask you your take on Cody Fajardo tonight, because he's my guy. I love me some Cody Fajardo. And just hang on, because I've said to my buddy Mike Lee, who's probably watching right now, he's an oil man, I said, I hope there's no sophomore jinx for Cody. And he goes, no, his second year was wiped out. It's gone.
The sophomore year's gone.
Yeah, so we're into year 3 as a starter here. What do you see for this guy out of Nevada?
I will honestly, we had Cody in British Columbia, and I will say one of the nicest guys you're going to meet. Just always got a smile on his face. I was always a big fan from when he played in college, because I thought what he did in college was extraordinary at Nevada. Over 9,000 yards passing and over 3,000 yards rushing. I mean, this guy's an athlete, and I think he proved that when he became a starter, because I don't think anybody thought he was going to do what he did. Let's be honest. There's nobody that thought he was going to do that. But given the opportunity, he was able to put a fantastic season up. Now, having said that, it's a different mentality when you get the big contract and then the expectation is, hey, you got to do it again.
Here it is.
And here it is, right? You were one of the best passers in the CFL. He was the best passer in the CFL, wasn't he, last year? Or 2 years ago? You've got to do it again. And that's what the great ones do, right? There's a lot of examples of guys that have put up years, and then the following year you think, what happened? In BC, we had one. Jonathan Jennings, Casey Printers. There's a lot of guys like that. Not saying that Cody's going to do that, but that's with a rookie year or a breakout year comes the expectation and pressure of doing it again, and that's the question mark. I fully expect Cody to do it. He's got that great mentality. He's a great kid, but you never know until it starts to happen.
That's why we play the games.
That's why we play the games.
But as you know, he's got the demeanor to do it. He's got God on his side. But I thought so did the Montreal Canadiens. And how did that work out in the Stanley Cup final? They couldn't get God into the hockey gods.
Don't talk to me about that. I'm a Leaf fan.
You're a Leaf fan?
Yeah.
How's that going for you?
Yeah, not good.
I know you're a Toronto guy.
Yes.
But before we break, we only got 2 minutes left here, and you know how TV goes time-wise. But this offensive line for Saskatchewan, Boyko, he's starting left tackle. They just moved him there because you had him in BC, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They moved him everywhere in BC.
It just seems like a patchwork offensive line, and that's not a good thing because with continuity, that's what this game's all about.
I know we don't have much time for this, but I will say this, Roddy, is that to me, that's where the game's going to be won and lost. Mm-hmm. Question marks on the Saskatchewan Rough Riders offensive line, question marks about the British Columbia Lions defensive line. They got a lot of young guys that have really, I think, done a nice job of showcasing their athletic ability. They've shown everything that you want. Now they got to do it in a game. Boom Guacham, who's going to start at the defensive end and go up against Boyko. I mean, everything that I've seen of him in practice has been unbelievable. Now, can he do it in a game? Can he do it when it's for real? I suspect everything I see tells me that he can. Josh Davis is one of those interior defensive linemen. Tim Bonner, if anybody who's familiar with Last Chance U, Tim Bonner was in season 2. He's had a great camp. Ade Aruna is another guy who's done very, very well. So there's a lot of guys. They've got 6. They've got 6 young defensive linemen. So to me, if those kids can do what they did in practice and fly around and be athletic and make things happen, then we're going to have a matchup. But we don't know, right? That's the beauty of this game. Usually we say that in preseason, and you're able to iron out those kinks. There is no preseason. It's for real, and it's those lights are going to go on pretty quickly, and they're going to realize they've gone from 25 miles an hour to 100 miles an hour when you walk out into that stadium with a packed house and they're going crazy.
Don't talk to me about Last Chance U till somebody gives Jason Brown a job. That guy's got to be coaching in the CFL.
Really?
The season 3 guy? You don't like him?
No, I don't know if I've seen season 3.
This guy is hell on wheels.
Which one is he? Is he the guy who got kicked?
Got fired.
He got fired. Okay, yeah, I have seen a little bit of him. He's a bit. He doesn't like. He's a little.
I wouldn't give 2 squirts of piss for what you think. It's like Chris Jones, but bigger.
And that's kind of scary. That's 10 times bigger, 100 times bigger.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay, you gonna stick around for Farhan?
Is he coming up?
Yeah, next.
Oh, I'd
okay.
love to.
All right. Awesome. It is a Flame Tech Football Friday. We're brought to you here in hour 2 by Core Grain. Core Grain, doing the right thing for your farm. CFL on TSN's Farhan Lalji joins us next. You're watching on Game Plus TV network across all 10 provinces and 31 states. Live daily on YouTube and Facebook, and 24-hour sports radio for Suds. Full service car wash at rodpedersen.com.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of the Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.